Hello, my patriots. Welcome back. It's another day for some GOPO. We're going to continue on with chapter 1. We're going to finish it today with sections 3 and 4. We're going to look at the different theories of democracy and what a constitutional republic is, because I told you the video before that we are a republic. All right, so there's different ideas about how democracy works and the theories of democracy. Many political scientists differ on how power is distributed in a society. There's three different ways that they talk about this. One is the power is within the masses. Another way power is seen in a democracy is that it's among competing groups. And then the third is that power is held by the elites. So let's look at the first theory. The first theory is participatory democratic theory, which says that widespread political participation is essential for a democratic government, and that's how they will thrive. And citizen can either join groups outside the government control or maybe not participate if they choose not to. And if they do, that demonstrates a strong civil society. And a civil society is when you see people joining groups that are outside government control. That's what it is. A great example of a civil society is when we saw the civil rights movement in the 60s, and we saw groups, like the SCLC led by Dr. Martin Luther King, or SNCC, and even the Black Panthers. Joining voluntary associations prepares us for the democratic process. Sometimes you learn by reading or you learn by listening to something, but the best way to learn is by actually doing it. And that's a great way to understand the democratic process when you're actually involved in it by by joining these voluntary organizations. And, hopefully these organizations, some, not all, but are working for the common good. Skip that for now. This is just an example of a group that was decorating trees to make a park look more beautiful. It's in California, and it was just an idea that it's an example of being part of a civil society, just a group going and making things better for the common good. The second theory is the pluralist theory. It's the idea that America is involved in competing groups that are all trying to get their causes put forth. And by having those groups, it's a good thing because it keeps one group from dominating and it keeps the other groups in check, and competition is a good thing. So we've always been unified for a common purpose with like-minded people. You see that whether it's in clubs at school, or you see that if it's in Facebook groups, or you even see that when you have interest groups like the NRA or like PETA. And that's what the pluralist theory is saying. It's that democracy emphasizes the roles of groups in policymaking. If we want policy made, basically, it's saying the competing groups are the ones that do that, like the NRA, like the NAACP, like ARP, like PETA. And they can join these groups to compete for government attention. And this theory is like the sunshine and rainbows and unicorns theory of democracy, because it's the idea of they all compete and no one group dominates. But people who kind of disagree with that idea almost believe in the idea of what's known as the elitist theory. It's this theory that the elites dominate politics. A lot. If you ever heard President Trump talking about we need to drain the swamp, he's a believer in the elitist theory. Bernie Sanders is a believer in the elitist theory. People in Washington are corrupt and we need to get rid of them. It's very similar. Andrew Jackson, those are people who believed in those types of theories, where they say a small minority of people dominate politics because they either are the politician or they influence the politicians to do what they want, especially those who have lots of course, money, because they are not only the individual has a lot of money, but even wealthy interest groups like the NRA is one of the most wealthy interest groups in the country. Bill Gates is one of the wealthiest people in the country. That they're saying groups like that or people like that are the ones that can ultimately influence the government more so than a group could or just individual participants could. So I want you to go back to the first section and think about this question. Bridget Mergens used a law firm to help assert her rights as a student. Does her story best represent pluralism, elitism, or participatory democracy? Think about that, and I want to hear your answer when we see each other in class. Also, I want you guys to try your hand at this FRQ. I want you to read it. And when you're reading it, you need to make sure you're answering the questions. And I did have you guys do that. It's part of your Google Classroom. All right, the last part we're going to be talking about is what a constitutional republic is. So, the questions to ask when devising a system of government, when you're creating this: how much power will the government have, and how is the power going to be distributed? So, should they be super powerful, and if not, less powerful? And then number two, which parts of the government are going to get that power? So they decide that those parts of the government I'm talking about are the political institutions. Those are the three branches. Who gets the power of those three branches? That's what they're kind of talking about with question number two. Now, like I said before, we have a republic, but we have even more specifically a constitutional republic. So let's break each one of those words down. Number one, republic means that we, the people, choose representatives to make, enforce, and interpret the laws. Now, a constitutional republic is one where we base our rules and regulations and laws and all of our policy on the Constitution as being the supreme law of the land. So this is one thing that helps kind of maintain our order. It helps provide our liberties too. And I want you to think about this. Where in the Constitution are we provided our liberties? And the answer is the Bill of Rights, and actually many of the other amendments. Now, our nation, what this course is designed to do, what I want you to get from this whole course is it's going to give you not only the tools to know what government is and to pass the class, but I want you to also be aware of being a civilian in this country, to have political efficacy, knowing that your vote, that your participation matters. And not only is it good to learn how to be engaged and when to be engaged, but to do it responsibly in a way where you're following the law and order of the country as well. You can definitely be involved, but knowing how to do it in a responsible way, not only in a way where you're not breaking laws, but in a way where you're using correct information if you're forming arguments. So basically, when you figure out your point of view in this class, which I'm going to help you form, I'm not going to indoctrinate you. I promise you I won't do that. I am so against that. I will never tell you what I believe in. I will never skew you one way or another. I'm just going to give you the facts, but I'm going to help you pinpoint your own point of view. But the most important thing you need to understand is the people who have the best argument, the people who are the most responsible, know the other side too. So you'll know both sides of the story. So if you ever hear me questioning you or arguing with you about your opinion, it's not my opinion, it's me playing devil's advocate so you understand the other side. So we're going to be looking at that, and we're also going to be using a lot of real life examples so that it really can connect to your life and connect to the world around you, so you can understand how all of the stuff we're learning is so relevant to everything that's happening within the United States. That's it. I'm just going to skip this for now. You don't need to do this. I'm really excited to have you in this class. This is going to be a great year, and I can't wait to really dive into all of the meat and potatoes of the class. Have a good one.